पार्टी को कम से कम 150 सीटें दिलवानी है। क्यों? क्योंकि अगर 150 सीटें नहीं आई, ये फिर से चोरी करने की कोशिश करेंगे।
Namaste, Jai Hind, and it's Result Day live, ladies and gentlemen. And here on the CNN News 18 network, we have to tell you that this is the place you have to be. No one has covered the Karnataka elections like we have, on ground. And we will get you those people who have travelled the length and breadth of Karnataka over 60 long days to get you the pulse of the people of Karnataka. What was Karnataka thinking going through the various ups and downs, ebbs and flows of this entire campaign mode? We will start Result Day live with a conversation with the News 18 network reporters. Those who are on ground covering the 31 districts, 224 assembly constituencies, more than 50 reporters who have traversed the length and breadth of Karnataka. It is a big day, ladies and gentlemen. Be it for the Congress, be it for the opposition, be it for the BJP. Cue Lok Sabha 2024. Cue the three big states that are going to polls after Karnataka. The story remains that you cannot lose Karnataka. Those who win Karnataka will believe that they will get a huge momentum. So I've got Harish Upadhyay, Akshara, Rohini Swami, Aman Sharma, Shivani Gupta, Pallavi Ghosh, everybody who have gone right through the length and breadth of Karnataka over 60 days. Zaka has had some fun at VV Puram, sampling the food and also traversing in Bangalore. I was there for a day, not much, but we will talk to them and ask them what went through in Karnataka, who got the momentum, who peaked at the right time, did someone peak too early, what were the voters thinking in different places. We'll talk about all of that. First, let's go across to Rohini Swami. Rohini, the consensus is that no one has travelled Karnataka more than you have, amongst all of us. So we'll start with you. What has been your experience and what is your expectation on result day?
Well, if you look at the way, I have basically covered almost around 3,000, 4,000 kilometers of Karnataka in the last 1.5 weeks. And in that time also, what the sense that we got is that there are multiple issues in various regions, be it the old Mysore region, be it coastal Karnataka, or be it for that matter, we see also parts of Kittur Karnataka and Telangana Karnataka. And in that, the issues that largely people have been talking about is development. They've been talking about issues about employment and inflation. Now, these are things that they wanted that to be addressed. But corruption is something that seems to have basically connected with the people, especially the campaigns from both sides, be it from the BJP side or from the Congress side. Both of them, the Congress claiming that the BJP was corrupt and the BJP saying that they have given better governance. But in all this, what I've also gotten sense in the feel amongst the people is that they want a stable government. They are tired of opposition governments. They are tired of the fact that they have to go into by-elections and by-polls every few months, if possible, because another party is trying to bring down the other. They wanted a single party, preferably for 5 years, who can govern and deliver the promises they have made. Now, whether people have made that judgment or not is we need to see. But at the same time, they're also hoping that they are tired of the tag that Karnataka is constantly being tagged as the most corrupt state as well. They want to ensure that something that comes to them comes in a way that the government gives it to them because it's their right. As citizens of the country, as citizens of people, residents of Karnataka, they hope that the basic Annabhagya scheme, the schemes of milk, of for that matter, jobs that have to be given or rice that has to be given, the basic things.
So, Rohini,
they want that.
Stability is what the people of Karnataka almost you felt as a running theme when you travelled across. The other person who has been travelling extensively as well and has brought some excellent half-hour shows for us is Harish. Harish, hello. Give us a sense of what you thought was the dominant issue among the people.
Well, three crucial issues. One, whether parties like it or not, caste is not going away anytime soon. This election too has been fought on caste lines. You will see that differentiation when the votes come in tomorrow, when the results come in. You will see that there are regions where a particular caste is dominant and they voted for that particular party. That's very clear. Although some of the parties didn't want that, especially BJP. One. Second, Whether you call it freebies, whether you call it Revidi culture, whether you call it social welfare push, it's here to stay, and people are making a differentiation. We spoke to people right from South Karnataka in Varuna, Nanjangud, to people in Raichur, Bellary, in northernmost tip of the state. And all those places, they are making that differentiation. Women are saying, yes, perhaps a 2,000 rupee that's given to the woman household head works for us. It's a huge helping hand. Youngsters are quick to point out that the unemployment stipend that the Congress party is talking about is not something that they believe is something practical. They are saying create jobs. So they are able to distinguish between what is a freebie, what is a social welfare push, and they perhaps will think about it when they vote. The third point that we need to talk here is, remember, the Ujjwala scheme was a huge hit for the BJP in Uttar Pradesh and various other places. But in Karnataka, there have been complaints saying that we are finding it extremely difficult to pay 1,150 rupees per cylinder. That's something that even BL Santosh, in fact, in one of those conversations that he had on Twitter, mentioned that because of the international crude oil prices, that's gone up. That's something that the BJP might feel.
Well,
the pinch.
but does it
Apart
matter?
from all this,
Does it matter for the people on ground? Harish, I'll come back because we'll get a word in from everybody. But just quickly, ladies and gentlemen, we want to flaunt something. We want to flaunt the network of our reporters and what we have done. So I'm going to get in here on Air Alexa, very, very special graphics. That's an ode to our reporters and our coverage on ground. 50 reporters, like I told you. 224 constituencies, 31 districts, 60 days. It's the most comprehensive coverage. No one has covered Karnataka like us. So we'll get you all the aspects, the insights, and of course the fun moments. And we'll ask everybody what was their most memorable moment. So be it Aman, Pallavi, there is Harish, there is Neetu, there is Rohini, who has gone on ground, Zaka, Shivani, everybody went on ground. Akshara has been there. Neetu Raghukumar, Purnima Murli have come down from their core states of Kerala and Tamil Nadu and also traversed, just like some of the politicians have who have left their core states and come here to campaign, canvass against the various groupings of people. But before we go back to our reporters and whether or not they agree with what the pollsters, the exit pollsters have come out and said, will this number stand or is this actually going to be a decisive mandate? Let's quickly look at what the poll of polls said. The mega poll of polls looks at a fractured mandate yet again. Contrary to what Rohini just said, that the people want a decisive mandate. They want a clear, stable government. But if this stands at the end of the day, then it won't. But there are a few outliers. There are those who have given a runaway victory for the Congress party. There are those who have given a clear mandate for the BJP. But largely, the consensus is that the single largest party on result day should be the Congress party. Many believe it may just be in pole position to form government on its own. The kingmaker JDS looks weakened compared to 2018. Really at least about 12 to 15 seats lesser than the last time around. Now, will that stand? Is that going to happen? Let's take it to Pallavi Ghosh and Aman Sharma. You've also done a lot of Chehal Kadmi, so I'm going to ask you, have you girls picked up Kannada there after spending time in Karnataka?
Not me, but I've learned how to make a dosa. I can make a perfectly round dosa. So, yeah, that's
There are two people who figured it out, Priyanka Gandhi and Pallavi Ghosh. They both figured out how to make a dosa.
PG also works, huh? Initial.
She's PGV.
Yeah, there's no V in Pallavi.
There's no V in Pallavi. Yeah, so, just to come back, seriously, what I picked up from Karnataka is people are fun. They are not very aggressive. They don't fight, but politically very astute. So not many of them were talking openly. Language is an issue, which I certainly found one. Language is an issue, and why not? But, just to talk about a party I actually cover, which is the Congress party, I think it's actually do or die for them. It's very, very critical for the Congress party to win Karnataka elections. The Congress president comes from Karnataka, that's one. Second, unlike in other state elections over here, they began early. They prepared very well. They began early, so which also brings the criticism, did they peak early? Third is that the social media campaign, aggressive campaigns, and also Rahul Gandhi is the lengthiest and the most successful part of the Bharat Jodo Yatra was actually Karnataka. So even if the Congress party says, look, his Yatra was not political, that's not true. The true test case of the Bharat Jodo Yatra has been Karnataka, and most importantly, I think this is one election which managed to rein in Rahul Gandhi. He wanted to talk about his favorite topic, which is the Adanis and Rafale, which he was told absolute no. So he did not speak about that. He stuck to local issues. So I think if they win this election, that means they're going to get a little hang of the political strategy kind of right. I mean, I think they're going to replicate it then in Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and so on and so forth.
The fact is that Mallikarjun Kharge
Yeah.
The Congress president is from this state.
Yeah.
So lots at stake for him personally as well.
Yeah, because see, I mean, that's what, the problem in the Congress party is that topmost does not mean that you get the perception battle right.
Yes.
I mean, Dr. Manmohan Singh was a prime minister for 2 terms, but he was always called a weak prime minister or remote controlled. Kharge has often been called a remote controlled Congress president. And that's something which the BJP says. I cover the Congress party, so I would notice, the go-to person would always be Rahul Gandhi rather than a Mallikarjun Kharge to solve their problems. This is Kharge's moment. He'll have to show that, I come from a state, from Karnataka, I am the Congress president.
And I represent a crucial constituency.
Yes, absolutely. And he was the one who very strongly gave it back to the Prime Minister on many points. That poisonous snake remark of his, he was managed to kind of shrug it off by, immediately apologizing.
No, but there was also this impression that was there an attempt to sabotage this election internally, because the manner in which certain issues which were seen as a localized election became a national election post that jibe?
Well, we'll have to wait to. I think the biggest faux pas the Congress made was that Bajrang Dal.
If that sabotage had to happen, it started with Mallikarjun Kharge. Why would he sabotage in his own state? But Aman, quickly, and then we'll bring in Zaka and Shivani before we take it out.
I would split this election into 2 phases. I would say that there was one election pre-April 26th when it was the Congress which looked like having the edge, because Congress was solidly going to the ground with its 5 guarantees. Congress worked for almost 2 months to go home to home with its guarantee card promising these 5 guarantees, and which I think they got some good momentum. But after 26th April, 2 key events happened. One was 27th April, which Pallavi said, the poisonous snake remark by Mr. Kharge. And 2nd May, the Congress manifesto, which mentioned the ban on the Bajrang Dal. These are the 2 issues which I feel brought BJP back into the reckoning very, very strongly. And obviously, they were backed by the Prime Minister's high voltage campaign, his 2 roadshows in Bangalore and Mysore. That is what I think gave BJP the edge. So I would split it into 2. The second last fortnight is when the BJP got the edge. Before that, the Congress had the edge. Now, who outweighs each other remains to be seen. We'll know in the results when they're declared. But this is something which was clearly visible in the election. Second point, I think this election will be decided by the women of Karnataka. In more than 112 seats in Karnataka, it's the women who outnumber men voters. The rupees 2,000 promise for women by the Congress has a resonance on the ground. Women have been speaking about it when you go to the ground, and I think all of us have captured that. The BJP really didn't have much of a counter to that cash toll. And, it's a fact that LPG cylinder is a big issue. The 1,100 rupees over the LPG cylinder was costing in Karnataka. So have the women who traditionally have always backed the BJP in a general election, in every state election, for various reasons, for the LPG cylinder, for Ujjwala, for Swachh Bharat, for toilets, for rations, have in this election, the women shifted in some manner to the Congress because of this
issue. Have the women started feeling that perhaps they can get the best of both the worlds?
Exactly.
In the state elections, as it is, the centre is not taking away the benefits or the schemes that they are giving.
I was discussing this with Maria the other day, that I went to one house where this woman told me very interesting thing कि ये जो 2,000 रुपया है ये तो कांग्रेस देगी, जो सेंटर से 6,000 रुपए पीएम किसान निधि का था वो तो आएगा ना, वो थोड़ी बंद हो जाएगा. So voter I think has become very, very intelligent. They want laddus in both their hands, and the Congress obviously also, I think, amongst all the states in the country, the strongest organization that the Congress has is in Karnataka. This is their strongest state. If they don't win here, I don't think they can win anywhere.
No, but I think one of the things that I saw, a couple of things which I felt, I was there in Bangalore for a few days and in Mysore, that traversing Hassan, Kanakpura, the old Mysore belt. I think what I got to sense was there is a serious backward class consolidation that's happening. Whether it is Dalits, Kurubas, the Ahinda vote, as it were. Not just personified by Siddaramaiah, but I think it was more a Congress vote as well. She talked about the Bharat Jodo. One of the congressmen I spoke to in Bangalore, he said, something happened in the Bharat Jodo where they had this rally in Davangere. And Davangere is not a citadel or a fortress of the Congress. In fact, Davangere is bang in the middle of the state. It's a Lingayat, fortress. It's a BJP fortress. And it was Siddaramaiah's 75th birthday in the middle of the Bharat Jodo. And there were 10 lakh people. People were coming in trucks and buses. So this guy who I was speaking to said, and this was December or maybe January or sometime, where he said, I think it was December, where he said, we saw that, people coming in bullock carts, in buses, in caravans, and we realized something was up here. Something was happening here. We couldn't put a finger to it, but something was really up. So I think that other than the women sort of vote share going up, and by the way, the EC has released figures in Bangalore. Out of 28 seats, in 24 out of 28 seats, women have outvoted men. So I think that's a phenomenal record.
It's quite significant, and is that going to influence the results?
Yeah.
We'll have
Who
to
they
wait.
have voted for is
You know, but
Which is
it's
why
interesting.
Priyanka Vadra was also used extensively towards the end. You know?
No, but-
so they
but-
did. And Sonia Gandhi was also brought in.
Yes,
for
but
just one
Pallavi, if
rally.
we were to make this comparison between, say, Bihar, you know, at that time in Bihar also everybody came to the conclusion that it's like a wave election in favor of Mahagathbandhan. Then we saw what happened in the results. Because the women as a constituency, they came out in huge numbers towards the end, in the later part of this 5-phase election that we saw in the state, and they voted for the BJP. You know, so I'm saying that women as a constituency, while we look at their promises that have been made, they are also very unpredictable constituency.
And Congress, in fact, thinks that, women have shifted towards it because initially the Congress had only 4 guarantees in their guarantee card. They added a 5th guarantee, the free bus travel for women, because they thought...
I don't think, I agree with you. And I don't think we should think that this has just happened.
Yeah.
I mean, there are little nuances which the Congress party started indulging in. For example, Rahul Gandhi going on that bus with women. Okay, and he said, it was a very structured thinking that, we have to woo this particular vote bank. And Priyanka Gandhi Vadra being brought in, Sonia Gandhi being brought
My
in.
only question is, Shivani, did they do it at the right time? Did they peak in
or
the
the peak
middle
too
overs or not in the death overs?
I would say that in comparison to covering elections, for example, in states like Gujarat, UP, the elections were very muted in Karnataka. The electorate is also a little bit muted. And I found it to be, frankly, a waveless and an issue-less election, in the sense that there was no one dominating issue that was on top of everybody's lips. There was no issue like that. And contrary to people like us in studios, a lot of the times, corruption is not that issue that I found on the ground. Corruption is not the issue the people talk about, the first thing. But it is an election where I think people who are voters of the Congress and people who are voters of the BJP have already made up their minds. It's very difficult to shift them. But so the most important thing is in this election will be what is that shift, whether it's the woman voter, whether it's the Dalit voter, what is that shift and how much of that shift is going to happen between these categories. The other thing I will also add is that I think there is a class component in these elections. Because in Bengaluru alone, I went a lot in coastal Karnataka, in Hubli, Dharwad, and then in Bengaluru. You go to a Nandini milk parlor, the class of people is different. They sell you different things. You go to a different eatery where the class is middle class, upper middle class, they tell you different things. And they are quite divided. So actually, along with caste, which I'm sure, as the conventional wisdom is, I think class will also be a very important factor.
And, interestingly, Prakash Belawadi, let's bring in Akshara and Ritu also, and Neetu is also with us. So, you've not had your word. So, let me ask you, Akshara, what do you think? Because Prakash Belawadi, I remember on the day of exit polls, talked about this corridor of uncertainty. It could be a 2 to 4% corridor of uncertainty, whichever way it goes. So, Akshara, let me ask you before I bring in Neetu Raghukumar and also we'll take it across to Harish from there. So, weigh in with your thoughts after Akshara and Neetu finish. Yes, Akshara.
Well, I covered Mumbai Karnataka region or the Kittur Karnataka region, which is obviously a BJP stronghold. And if you take a look at the previous electoral results, 30 out of 50 seats in the Kittur Karnataka region were backed by the BJP. So this particular region plays a very vital role when it comes to Karnataka election. So this particular, in this particular elections, however, the results can vary there. The 3 main challenges which the BJP faces here is that 1, the rebellion, it is stung by rebellion, and 2 main leaders who have deserted BJP and joined Congress are 2 Lingayat leaders from the Kittur Karnataka region, as you know, Shettar and Lakshman Savadi. So more than Jagdish Shettar, they are wary about Lakshman Savadi, because one, Lakshman Savadi has sway over the Ganika votes who reside in Gulbarga, Bidar, Bagalkot region. So they're more wary about that. Plus, he speaks Kannada and Marathi very fluently, and BJP in the previous elections used him to campaign aggressively in the bordering region of Maharashtra where Marathi-speaking population reside. So once again, they are a bit worried about the Savadi factor there. So another reason is the Panchamasali factor. Yes, even though Bombay negotiated, there are few leaders who are still upset with it, and their fight with the Panchamasali Lingayats, when it comes to Panchamasali Lingayats, hangs in a balance. And the other which I noticed is the 5 guarantees. Wherever I traveled in every constituency, the sitting MLA of Congress, he or she holds the guarantee card of Congress, all these 5 guarantee cards. and right from the day one, they aggressively campaigned. They played the BJP's game in these elections. Right from day one, they aggressively campaigned in every constituency, holding these guarantee cards. You had Siddaramaiah, DK Shivakumar, and all the other leaders banking majorly on these promises.
Right.
So this is
and reservation as a factor, since you talked about Pancham Shali Lingayats. Was that something that you heard repeatedly, and particularly after what the Supreme Court had put it on hold? Akshara?
Well, you see, they did say that you had Jayamrutyunjaya Swamiji, who headed the reservation agitation in Karnataka, stating that the BJP will face a political impact if they are not provided with the 2A reservation status. But Bommai did try to negotiate. I think it has worked well for the BJP. Right now, they have pacified the appointees, the main seers who led this agitation. Right. So in turn, they can pacify their followers and ensure that they vote for the BJP. That hangs in the balance there. And once again,
Akshara, let me just bring in Neetu also, and let's open this up for everybody to get their points. What are the salient features? And of course, we'll come back to the fun part. Amidst all the work, I'm sure a lot of you had some fun moments, some standout moments right through this election coverage, which you'd say, ye yaad rahega, out of what we did in Karnataka. But first, Neetu, where were you? And what did you feel? How different is Karnataka from Kerala?
The parts which I went to were northern Karnataka, and that too was Vijaypura and Badami district. So one thing that stood out was how backward these constituencies were. And as you said, when you compare with Kerala or even other parts of Karnataka for that matter, I have travelled to other places also. Yes. These two constituencies, how backward they were, that was a starking revelation, to be frank. People struggling for water 24/7 in their homes, not even 24/7, like every day. They were in Vijaypura, they were actually telling that water comes once in 10 days and 15 days. And also a lot of these youngsters moving out from the district for better opportunities. Their main demands, like in this place, Yatnal is the MLA there. We know that he has been quite controversial. He even made a statement against Sonia Gandhi. So that entire constituency was quite polarized. Heavily they're talking about on those lines, on religion's lines. But when you talk to the people on the ground, first thing in their mind that comes is development. They keep saying that is what we need. And this was a district which had Gol Gumbaz, which is the second largest tomb in the whole world. And they're saying that there's nothing done to develop this tourism, water, roads. These were all issues that they were facing in development. Then the other constituency that I went to was Badami, where Siddaramaiah himself was the MLA for the past 5 years. There also, they could have been, much could have been done in that constituency. Even the people there were actually telling, when Siddaramaiah became the MLA, they thought that they will get in a lot. I mean, many of them say that yes, Siddaramaiah has done a lot in the constituency, but they were hoping more because he's the opposition leader. They thought that it could take it to a whole new level. You know that the rock cave temples, the famous rock cave temples and the Pattadakal temples, these are all built by the Chalukya dynasty. And I couldn't wonder if it was in any other state or even in Kerala for that matter, how it would have been promoted. But you don't even have buses connecting these monuments, these historical monuments. So the stakeholders there, the hoteliers there say that this is a major issue. And even if somebody like wants...
Yeah, complete, and then Harish and Rohini weigh in on this. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I was just telling that even people, the hoteliers there, people who came there were telling that they need proper hotels at least and proper transport facilities there. So in both these constituencies, what I heard was development, and both of them had a lot of tourism to offer, a lot of historical monuments to offer, but definitely that is not being done.
Potential